side. One and all forward in, you know. Yes, I. It's a joy, Rastafari, right? Greet the item. I don't know, it's a love again, cosmic conversation. Coming again with a deep-seated reasoning, you know? Give thanks for life, give thanks for health and strength. You know, our brother was today or tonight, but he couldn't make it, so we had to reschedule, you know? So, through the powers of the Most High, we go and have a more organic reasoning here. My two hygiene them, you know, my two brothers, you know? Musical brothers, I would say too, you know what I mean? Men with history and knowledge in the music, you know, playing a part in Trinidad here, you know what I mean? My brother Ultrasound, Ankoma Djed, my hygiene, Solid Rock, Same Blacks,
Boom Bang.
yeah, you don't know I Man, Buzz Rock, you know what I mean? Solar Man there, as a musician amongst the island, you know? These two men here so play enough music across the island, you know? So, men in this time, there's a good spectrum to get a good overall understanding of, you know, how reggae progress in Trinidad, like we say, even for the last little 20 years, you know, along with the message, you know, how the message progress, how the rhythm and the feel, how overall music progress, you know. To the powers of the Most High, I doesn't even try to comment on, like, you know, Trinidad and these kind of topics, you know what I mean? Because to me, everything look, some of these things don't really look like it, you know. It just happens, it's just a natural progression, you know. Some of these things look a little orchestrated for me, you know. So, the message, my brother and the two IJ, the message in the music, let me say from what even inspire I and I to get more, because you know in the days of reggae music, it's conscious, they just call it in Trinidad. It's based on consciousness, you know what I mean? So but man was listening to conscious from day one, man playing conscious from day one, you know what I mean? So it's like that message with even along with I and I, while we maturing as Rasta man coming through the energies, too coming through we experiences differently. You know, we get to see the message how it grow, the message how it develop along the years, for lack of a better word, you know what I mean? Like from Bob time to let we say Garnet Silk time, Sizzler time, Midnight time, you know, even to the present time, you know what I mean? Where it come like right now, it have a, I wouldn't call it, it feel like it's in between the transition again, you know what I mean? But the message itself, the message itself,
Consistent, remain the same.
it remain the same. But you could tell still, it get more deep in the light of how man traveling, how deep man traveling into the word sound then, you know what I mean?
Well, it come like time getting more critical, it more call for that, the frequencies that, the same like when, like I touched on what you said earlier, the music now come like magnetism. It could attract and it could repel too.
Yes, sir.
The ones them who will gravitate within that polarity, the consciousness, feed them consciousness awareness, you know? So when you listen in the music with the message, be it subtle or potent, in whatever regard, that resonates with you. The same way how ones you see when they hear that, they get really irritated. They get irritated, they can't hear that. So, right? Same magnetism energy in its form.
Yeah,
Song.
I would even say, for when we was treading the road as youth, we get a potent, we get a nice, we get something to, because as Rastafari, as youths coming up, enough things couldn't just grab it. We wouldn't have that, like that magnetism for certain things then. Man had a more respect for nature and man had a more respect for that relationship with the creator then. It's like, you know, it's not really, when men coming across, men not coming like trying to find an artificial energy then. So things like enough walks of life was stepped away along the journey in school and in different things. It wasn't potent, I would say, enough. Or it wasn't probably natural enough to take a youth man off of that journey, you know what I mean? Where it may be now. What you gonna say about that, brother?
Well, it's all to do with the society that we grew up in, you know, and the times changing. So in I time, consciousness was come like it was a popular trend, you know, to a degree. And basically, you have to tune in yourself to the vibrations. And enough people started wearing red, gold, and green and certain things. Ones that along the way, someone who was less into it, they kind of fade out and whatnot. But then they still are ones who
Whether it's
foundation. Yeah, because one thing with the conscious music too, another word we used to call it was foundation, is foundation.
True.
You understand?
True that.
So that means now the foundation is the base of the thing.
Heartbeat.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And even with the vibes about the music and the importance of the music, the one drop sound, it come like it regulates in your body the systems inside of your body now. You understand? From the time you hear music, regardless of what type, you probably get some hormones released in your brain.
Definitely.
Medicine and
endorphins and
True that.
them kind of something there now. You understand?
You see different reaction from different ones according to how it.
Yeah, well,
What affect?
the upbeat pace now might give you a speed up heart rate, it might raise, it might give you, let me say that music for different activities. So if you want to exercise, you might
True.
put on a fast paced music. When you want to get a meditative nostalgia, that kind of vibes, you would have put on a foundation. You know what I mean?
I just exercise to me. Real talk.
Yeah,
So real, so you know. But I
have a driving energy in it too.
For me,
Yeah.
but when you say that, like if you go in a class in a gym, they are more asuka, but the same pace.
Yeah. But all music does affect the body, does affect the person, does affect the organism differently. Because even me as a musician, I check over the years. Playing music and playing it organic, playing music without a metronome then, without something counting you and locking it to a grid. I realize nature itself does have a better relationship with it, like you know, if you're outside you just hear crickets, you hear the, you know what I mean, the different just animals and insects around just chime in, as opposed to when you play something with a metronome or locking you to a grid then, the sound like if they just get further away, the sound they're making, they just get quiet because it's not something that does resonate like, it do sound natural then, and you could see where music from, let me say, Bob time from the 70s and certain time, you know, where we get to give thanks we had the record player and certain things, we could have go back and set them things, you know what I mean, and had the opportunity to get to set them things, but it's like, their music was more analog, their music was more set to the way man really playing it live, you know what I mean? So you go check the magnetism, the energy in that music. They even show you that when you're recording analog, it doesn't only record sound, like it does record the energy of the room then. So sometimes when you play back analog, you could get the feeling of the players and the who was there then, because like analog catching more, they say more than just frequency musical, you know?
Truly, yeah.
Actually, in this song too, when like how the music get more digital, music get compressed by science. What digital mean actually? So the analog, the music more free, the more open vibes, things govern down now.
Yeah. And it didn't run through too much different processes then. Because when you're playing a live guitar, then you run it through an interface, then that had to switch to the next form of information for the computer itself to be able to read it and reproduce it, you know what I mean, as a song then. So time you step so far away from what was really played, you know what I mean, was the real tone of the music. But you know, it have ways now where, my man, like even me, we just going deep and try to get as pure and as real as possible. As organic as possible, you know what I mean? But it's still a task because
Give me one example. Give me one example of like what you're talking about there.
like if you're recording a drum, you're recording a bingy drum then, a kettle drum, a hand drum. Time you're playing it, the computer itself, the interface, what the interface does do, because long time is everything have a mic with its own cord going into your mixer. Now it's going into a USB and that going into your computer, so that really changing the what it is, it transmuting it to something else for the computer to read it. And then the computer will regurgitate, will give you back the song. So that in itself, it just kind of take away frequencies and different ambient energy of, like, you know, recording it through. And then
So like, hence the reason we record, like we say, the song you just get from that is really unique.
it's unique. It must be unique.
You do. Because, you know where you just notice it? Like when you're coming in, remember, that geographic is open. It's an open terrain. And the sound you just get is different, like if you go in a different venue where the music more digital now again your laptop. You wouldn't pick it. Most people ain't picking it up just so. I know half the time won't, but sometimes within each yard it was highlight real nice to me. I get it.
But
The
you
vibes
see,
really
now,
the
even
difference.
if you ain't really pick it up, your body, your mental, your energy, picking it up. Yeah, you could tell the difference. Your body could tell the difference as opposed to, like, you know what I mean. Even if you're hearing live music, that's where this give that feeling, like, you know, it's more compelling you to dance then. It's more compelling you to move. You know what I mean? Because it's real men moving and playing it. It's an action then, you know what I mean? As opposed to just, you know what I mean, even just a record, you know what I mean? So it's come like basically in stages then, you know what I mean? As opposed to when it's like digital.
Start from cassette days.
It start from cassette days, you know what I mean? Who was around in them days? TDK cassette and Maxwell.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Sony cassette.
Sony cassette and
60 minutes, 90 minutes.
man, it's to pop the
120.
top to make sure you're lucky in your music. Now you bring it to top of the plastic. It was a science.
How
you know?
skillful you get repairing them bus tape. And
Come on, you had to be skillful. You pull out your tape and your scissors
Yeah.
and get teeth.
And like when it get threw up on a certain part, you cut out like cut them down, you lose that music.
you gotta,
You
you know
lose
what I
that
mean?
out of this card.
As opposed to now, you know what I mean? We come like, man, have a million double and a little thing there, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? And like a virtual bagger, like you can't done, as opposed to we had to have a room of music long time.
You literally need manpower when you go in and DJ long time. My brother could hold a crate and jump in the dance free. Now it's another, now it's straight laptop.
Channel start.
That's like the evolution still, you know.
It have it ups and it downs, you know. It give,
Like everything else.
yeah, it give the opportunity for more music to play, you know what I mean? Because the vocabulary get more wide now to express command, get music easier, but, you know, take away still from the sound, take away from the feeling, the magnetism in the music, then, you know what I mean?
But in regards to who contribute to the art form now, like DJing one thing, and we can even go by singing or players of the instruments with, and even a platform to put out your products. Everything get, you know, it open, free for all, way, free for all. That says it all.
Yeah,
You know, like long time, like in Bob days, Bob and them had to even get a platform,
to get discovered.
you know.
But
Now, look how youth like Skilly Bang and them in COVID time sing a tune that resonate with the people, that is it, take off. All that come with the availability. How do you think get available for everybody now? Within arm's length reach.
Which bring a lot more art, you know. So I invest with it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Anytime that the evolutionary thing we just observing, make mention it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing too to see the progression
Before we forget.
and the message, you know. You know what I mean? And yeah, for that, it's the 1st of July, you know what I mean? One of the master teachers musically in Trinidad, yeah, my master teacher too.
Ascended master, you know.
Alam, you know what I mean? Rendrick Walker, you know what I mean? So
She.
you know what I mean? Rise that energy with the reasoning about, you know what I mean? Even what he taught I, you know, was vibration, is music, everything that alive does vibrate. Is feel for our pulses, listen for our heartbeat. That in itself is vibration. Elephants, plenty animals just hear lower frequencies, man, just hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. They say even babies just hear a wider range. But it have a lot of sound going on, the earth vibrating a B flat and only 440 log, you know what I mean? So everything that alive just throw off a note, just have a vibration. So it's just that harmony in the existence, you know what I mean? As true we hear throwing off a heartbeat, you know what I mean? There's a chord, you know what I mean? There's a harmony in the lighter, especially with like minds, you know what I mean? Because it's one of the things I'm sure I from day one to say you just have a mental note. Where's the note of what just fluctuate like the emotion, but then you just have a root note. It's like the vibration of your heart then, of your existence then. That don't really change. You know what I mean? But your mental note now, based on where your vibes in at, you know what I mean? That could change, you know what I mean? So the existence note, where you just feel for in the pulse and in the heartbeat, that is the root note. The harmony is the heavens, you know what I mean? It's where your mind just based on, you know what I mean? And you say that is even a C sharp, you know what I mean?
C sharp from
yeah, from the 440 log then, you know what I mean? The vibration of the authority, or even the vibration of the sun, it says a C sharp. Not the C sharp on the 440 log, but C sharp in relative to what they, you know what I mean, what they call A, you know what I mean? I doesn't say the 432 because you know me not the tools yet to really seismically measure certain frequencies, you know, below the audible level, you know what I mean? But there is a deep science there. You know what I mean? What I don't teach you as a pan tuner, you know what I mean? So it was well in tune with tuning itself, you know what I mean?
Jesus said the Babylon is B, some B.
Yeah, it's a B
E
flat.
E flat.
B flat.
E flat. So Babylon is E flat.
E flat.
Yeah. All woman is B flat. You see, the earth is B flat too. You understand? All these sciences, I and all come to after years, you know, and even after the transition. I come to when YouTube days and information get more wide now. And you know, I mean, geographic and documentaries, you can get to go back and really, you know, I mean, get deep dive on certain things. Now I see National Geographic did say too, the moon is a B flat, the earth is B flat. You understand? They even say the sun come in a C sharp. You know what I mean? So it is a factual thing with vibration and the existence of all these planets and everything throwing off our vibration. So the whole universe, the whole universe is music then. You know what I mean? Amongst the creations of the Most High, just like these instruments. You know what I mean? Existing on the planet then.
Sending off a frequency based on the vibration. IOLO.
Yes, sir. Well, you don't know. It's an organic reasoning. You know what I mean? So, we just deep diving on right now because music itself, we could tell music have a great purpose, you know what I mean? And it helped it helped, and I could see the results in Africa, you could see the results in Trinidad, you could see the results of, you know what I mean, just black man worldwide, you know what I mean? How interested we become in certain things, you know, metaphysical things, even deep diving in the Bible to really, you know, suss it out and thing, you know what I mean? To really understand the fullness and do your research, you know what I mean?
I will put something to all there. You see, as Trinidadian, I want to ask you, what make you gravitate more to reggae or foundation as opposed to calypso and soca? And what place calypso and soca have in your creative process or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I didn't really grow up here fully. You know what I mean? I lived here when I was 6, I come back when I was 18. So, through that, my exposure to music was a little different. But what I would say is like coming forward to Trinidad, here in reggae, here and even, well, I would say calypso especially, because my father is a musician to play with my calypso and that. So I hear some calypso, enough calypso in my life.
Where your father?
Andy Phillips, he play enough, come on. Yeah, just let the people them know, and before lips, they play enough, rush out, yeah, Tanka, Nappy Myers, enough thing. Yeah, culture, back up enough ones. So through that powers, I get, on the bass, I get exposed to some good guys, so then. And for the root of it, I would say the Beethovens and the Bats, the high-grade musicians of the Caribbean was in calypso. Them men was the men who playing them literally sheet music. Like you couldn't come in a tent, you couldn't come without your music written. You understand? Because everybody scholarly on the musical level to where it's like basically like our orchestra, like just call it steel orchestra, but just in them days it's literal musicians, but it's basically sheet music alone. So in that science, I would say my creative process that exposed me to being more free to use all the avenues of, expressing chords and things, because sometimes it's like 9, 10 chords in them kaiso and thing. But when I hear reggae now, reggae had the groove, what is locking in them, the groove of the feel of the rhythm then, you know what I mean? Like that one drop where you talk about like the heart. You know what I mean? You could even tell it influenced a lot of other music. You know what I mean? But reggae, that feel of reggae had a dread magnetism in it then, you know what I mean? For me, will make the message hit my heart, you know what I mean?
What do you guys say, same back?
For me, music was a more, from small I listened to all kinds. It was like this. Accepting all music, I used to deal with like, because my cousin used to deal with like serious Barry Manilow and thing and the Gibbs and thing. Really tough. Right? And then too, around my peers, bigger cousins and them, most of them fly out too and used to send back level rap. And then me in myself now, around certain fellas R&B, for like party time days. Man was contestants and thing in them days too. So, kind of way. So the music was just general for me. But upon Rastafari, upon Chud and them Chud, it was like the reggae now was a no compliment. You hear certain artists. And then too, the music wasn't that available. Real hard way you call, you mentioned earlier, foundation. Foundation music wasn't like we're talking about early 90s. Right? You really had to have the link. But we had Studio B's, large up Studio B's. Bless and keep Tai. And what she did, certain man with Irish shit, exposed me to that level of conscious music with regards to reggae. And then Rastafari, Liberty. Make that, everything has get kind of eclipse, everything get. Yeah, everything. But within my last run, see, I embrace it back all, come back full circle. But for a long period, you're talking about at least 28 years. But
Staunch.
it's more than that. Yeah, straight reggae conscious, Rastaman, vibration, revolution music, you know. Yeah. Rappers are big before I listen to reggae music. I rap predominantly. You know.
So how is it there? I know
Yeah.
the man was in
But I have good question. I have good
UK and all
question.
too.
Yeah, well, I did spend some. But I get into the reggae music from early through my father. You know, he's a Jamaican,
Right.
and he loved the reggae music and the culture and thing. So at home is enough. You know what I mean? Same Garnet Silk and thing in the early
True.
90s.
True.
Used to be rinsing in my head as a small man.
True.
And when we went across there in the UK, enough car sound system culture and things used to be down in London, Birmingham, amongst the people and whatnot. Them kind of vibes. So when I come back to Trinidad around 99, the Sizzler take over the place them time.
Wow.
You understand? The Sizzler and these brothers was now busting out with all the fire and them kind of things. So that's the levels, you know. I still gain a appreciation of calypso and even soca in a more when I come to a more mature space than in myself, you know. Because I appreciate some of the rhythmic patterns and things. And in fact I feel like as Rasta and thing in Trinidad we probably have to look into how we could bring our roots vibes inside and even go and dust off some of them calypso record and see what we could remix or you know what I mean? Them kind of something.
Definitely. It deserves it. Some of them message very current. Yeah, I mean, some of them literally coming like a prophecy from them time, them man singing what we facing right now.
Because the thing with the calypso is the music will start with the social commentary and start with that kind of bringing a certain message or even a revolutionary message through the music. You understand? So them kind of thing coming from long time. Slavery days and all. So I think,
So like what the idea must say now, straight reggae still listen to or like they will listen a wider demographic, you know, like within like you say R&B or certain rap.
I don't really listen to them things to tell you the truth. But it's reggae and foundation is what I really listen to, you know what I mean?
It make no sense to ask sad man that God don't know.
No, you could ask me that
Well,
one
I
of
asked
the
you.
names, sir. I just listen of jazz, you know what I mean? I just listen of old school blues, Tony Hathaway, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
And I actually, as a creative,
you need to do that.
playing music, you know what I mean? And I just play reggae foundation.
You get ideas outside of
Yeah,
it.
that does help the expression in the sense of, you know, what I feed myself, you know, the diet I give myself musically is contribute to my creative energy because that is how you just learn, you know what I mean? You just listen, you know what I mean? And you just learn how to express yourself, you read, you learn words, and then you learn how to use the words and you express yourself in a wider or in a more precise way, you know what I mean? So me feeding myself jazz and it's not out of just that deliberate doing that, it's just a gravity and I have a pleasure in them thing, you know.
A certain tune in your head, they just stick with it and from all kind of genre.
Yes, sir.
They go gravitate to our vibes, same vibration. Because that universal language, everybody don't know music.
Yes, sir. Music does definitely cross the barriers and music does cross the different walls what people just put up based on culture and based on how they was raised and based on what they was exposed to. You know, music once it had the authentic feel, like even how genres just be created, it's from people who really had a passion to keep doing something a certain way, you know what I mean? And them men play it so passionate and it build itself then to become like something, you know.
Well, like what about man like Fela Kuti?
You know what I mean?
A real And I find like, there's spam down on the greatness. Because they just get the Afrobeats. Yeah. And thing with the Afrobeats, I sure it have a aspect of it, a side of it that
Yeah, the root of it is
because
and some Kuti, I would say.
and because you can go up in Africa and the topic of the day, like 90% of your topic on your music is about rich and flossing and get you.
That is not the paradigm.
When you check man like fella, as you say this, I suppress music, I suppress aspect because them fellas ain't bowing, is real rebel now.
Yes, sir.
So them getting the fight and they, I say bow out and they get through. The thing out there. They are big up fella, man.
Well, give thanks to right now how it reached the way, man able to have their own platform and able to express themselves, and it's really up to you. It's really up to how good you, how much you invest, how much time you invest in it, and how good you perfect your craft, And it still does be up to all of that. It still have, gatekeepers, you could tell, but just the ability to express yourself musically, is rather than having to, look for a studio or look for, some funding and all these things, so it come independent in this time, is that I kind of hug up that, I embrace that, because it's something where, like, make it doable for everybody, on that level,
It's how much instrument the idols play.
Yeah, man, playing bass, guitar, drum, keyboard, I just play all the instruments.
Horns, you play any of the horns?
Nah, I don't blow no horn as yet, really. But it's only because I would say I've never really owned one.
Nah, you know the boy blue thing.
Nah, man, I love it, man. The hand good, man. The hand good, man. But it's just,
See horns are read them home, man. Like when they get spares band.
proper horns.
Yeah, song with trumpet, loud and proud now.
No, well, horns itself, it's come like voices, and you could just put words to what the horns do, because it's like how the melodic, how it is expressed is done breath already, And these, I just blow melodica, and that come like a breath instrument still, but they're still using the keyboard.
What do you famous reggae man name again?
Augustus Pablo. Uncle Augustus.
Yes, sir.
So, as a man, I would say he was my inspiration to draw for the melodica, I realized, like how Trinidad we just have flute in school, there used to be a recorder.
Yeah.
And in Jamaica they used to be a melodica. In school, so enough people just get exposed to the beat. I would get the piano layout, I would get the fingering for piano, so it come like that. There's a slight advantage to, just bring the knowledge over,
Like you transition from that instrument to the piano.
The piano, like, So that is a plus. But man like Augustus and them, man, most, especially singers from them days, it's producers just like now, but it's just to own them studios and own them kind of equipment, There's a whole next part, there's a whole next investment, that kind of money and things. But most of them man was just like I man too, could play all the instruments, But try to be around musicians too, I just play guitar, try to be around, I would still, outsource and let a man express himself, musically, and just to bring that different, more hemispheres are bring this, assist the whole creation then, as opposed to one man sitting down. That is how it was a long time too, that is how the foundation that's created is input, it's not just a quick thing,
Well, that is even like what you were saying earlier with the live band versus even a record. It come like when it had one producer making a piece of music and making all the parts, it come like it only have average and vibrations going into the rhythm, as opposed to if it have man
collective.
who creating the music, they go have everybody different special touch inside it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why there are certain artists don't really jump, you will rarely hear them on those kind of rhythm of put together in a room. No? Them fellas and them when they singing on band.
True. Live production.
Yeah, them old school brothers and them and I
And
understand a bit too.
what I want to bring for a little piece of reasons and like we now say how live does affect and how much input in the music does affect the music, the overall production itself. And sometimes the person, more time you even check in history, the people consumption is was enough psychedelics and enough ganja bun and things, so you could tell that even that energy in the music, you know, as opposed to all music like how soca and different music have a more rum energy, you know what I mean? Certain other music does be more enchanting, rocking with that kind of them other psychedelics and thing with them house music and thing, you know, but
All genre love crack.
yeah, I mean, fire one, yeah. But it hurt, but it's a questionable thing to
No,
say,
but
you know what I mean?
being real.
How much men create real good music, you know what I mean?
It is what it
While-
is, yo.
Like, while consuming these things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Questionable.
Because in the early stages, in the early stages and all these artists, we need call names, everybody done. Best set of music, as they say, and it is what it is.
Well, recently I read a thing saying, well, I read somebody's opinion saying that enough of them in the early no, they didn't really understand what it would do to them.
Of
physically.
course,
And they used to take it like to upkeep that kind of fast paced touring life.
right. And you remember it have aspect of it where it was the sense that they inject that in the ghettos to do exactly what it did to the ones and ones, the brothers and sisters in that community, you know?
But one thing what Sadiq, say there, I think I find it was interesting that it come like different genres of music vibrating with different substances. So you could really say it have a rum type music, it have a ganja type music, it have a cocaine type music or opioid music.
Yeah.
And it might have a music for people who
Mushroom
sipping
music.
coffee,
Yeah.
all kind of thing.
You know what I mean?
Like them raising them.
Yeah, there is some other kind of mushroom music kind of thing, you know, house and all these kind of genres. But what I would say is the highlighted thing, the beautiful thing with reggae music is you can hear the ganja. You can hear the ganja in the music, and the ganja is something we have a long history with mankind. So it's like it's not something, it's like a real organic relationship between music, herb, and man then, you know what I mean? Especially with consuming it profusely while you're creating it, you know what I mean? So it is really, it have a use, you know what I mean?
It's like food and drink.
They come on.
Music and herb from ever since.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can remember like in the early stage when I started to use herb, music was always sweet. Talk about it, get sweeter. Tell them I lie, and I show the experiences for like most ones.
Yes, sir.
When the first time I hear you're on that herb, and you play the same music you hear in a long time.
Yeah, awareness.
You get a different impression.
It's like you're more aware to break it down in the mind, you're more relaxed to take it in.
Start
too.
traveling.
Just breathing on the whole, taking deep breaths, just the fact that we, add our ingredient to it, we add a herb to it, but the breathing itself is relaxing, you know what I mean? So that is done for you in a kind of more receptive energy, that is done for you in a more kind of receiving energy then, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So we add the herb to it, and then get more relaxed and get more open, you know what I mean? give thanks. What else said about that?
I just say the same thing, you gotta keep the pace, you know, keep the heart rhythm steady with the music, with the vibration. You know, very beneficial
That's it.
inside of the health.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Just laying your getting something to take your mind, to relax your mind, even meditation itself. Music is a form of meditation, especially when you are alone listening to it, you know? And that is when it just quiet your mind and you can really, you know, travel with it with music then. As opposed to, you know, it have other uses too, you know, man, that being enjoyment is our different uses, but when you settle with a piece of music, just like when you start to meditate and burn your food, that music itself does open up, you know what I mean? Because you're more relaxed and you're more ready to receive them, you know what I mean? Come on. Yes, there's a cosmic reason in Aggie. Deep-seated musical reasoning, we chatting about the history of Trinidad and conscious and foundation and where it come to even right now, you know what I mean? Where reggae reach where it reach, you know what I mean? Reggae is a worldwide thing, you know what I mean? It's been a worldwide thing, you know what I mean? It have different walks of life coming into the reggae arena right now to it, you know what I mean? A man like Mattis Yahu, and them man who Jews, white Jews singing reggae, you know what I mean?
You still sing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not why.
Like, I don't know.
But it have man,
Yeah,
even
we-
Muslim man who sing reggae too,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it have Christian, you know, gospel reggae.
Yeah, yeah. Like a big industry.
Reggae being used.
Papa San and all them go down there.
Yeah, gospel. I think even the lady saw and want to make the transition to the
So,
gospel.
you should preach it.
Yeah, so
The vessels on that too.
so reggae being used along in all the walks. In all the walks, if you look sharp at Hindu reggae and Buddhist reggae too. Yeah, Buddha, you know what I mean?
And good out to the like reggae down in Japan.
Yeah, you understand?
But in terms of like in Trinidad now with the sound system thing, who was these main pioneers in all their brain who set it in Trinidad playing reggae music?
Pioneers.
Nah, Big Chariot, Lion King, Blackstone. You know, them is like, let me see what I know. But then you see the whole of the 12 tribe song, first and foremost, because Majestic songs, Judah Marie, Cha songs, you know, King songs, big up King songs, in New York. Yeah, the whole of the 12 tribe song, let me say that first and get out of it. Then them brothers are called it because for me, before I hear any of them, I was hearing the 12 tribe song. You know, and 12 tribe song outside of Trinidad too. You get cassettes, you know that, and I'm glad to say today, through my brethren, Troy, we get all the music on cassette. It take years, but like a whole lot of them is source on record too. Yeah, so that was real instrumental with being unique and having that vast catalog, you know, of music from listening that long and having that vibes to go after that music. But I can remember a long time hearing music to me, yeah, it's nice, but I used to have that music to play anytime I want because the accessibility wasn't like, it's not like now. Obvious. Now you go and it's just you're hearing something playing, you just shazam that, boom. Yeah. On YouTube, most, 80% of the chance that day. Unless it's some music that the government know. And they don't want it public for whatever reason. copyright.
That's the next thing, you know, because I kind of starting to get a little problems with the concept of intellectual property and if it really exists or if it's about a construct. It might,
Yeah, well,
because nothing really original on the earth, you know.
true.
So, you know, so
Everything inspired.
everything was here before and it will be the same in the future.
So that's a good point you make. It's based on this gain because I know rightfully so. If a person powerfully product, that is a blood, sweat and tears.
In a higher paradigm, become like you just wanna we use just a human like we, and before you come and learn language and how to behave and all these things. So things where you produce now as your activity.
Yeah, I agree.
Why
I agree
you
with
going and
you.
withhold that from the rest of we can try to exploit it in a money sense.
Because of poverty.
Instead of just that is just your attribution to reality.
Well, every man they know, well, it's by the sweat of the brow and we eat the bread, that is what they say. But we check it in reality is a man that's
Let me see.
special.
Check this out.
The area, he specializes in the area, you know what I mean? As a musician.
You make a tune. You make the tune, it's your tune. Then there are a lot of people who have contributed, mastering, and perfecting.
But in this round here,
So you just have people that be paid, even if you know that.
a man could do everything independent by himself too.
If he is like you,
Yeah.
and if he not.
If he not, he don't have to get it done.
Right.
So people have to be paid. So I understand with the intellectual property, but we
And
part
I
what
realize-
has blow my mind is how before music was made, cassettes, CDs, originals, you would be able to keep track on how much you print. So then you could be able to keep track on how much you sell, and that basically that was independent. You could hire lawyers, you could have you producing, you mass producing your thing, so you will know how to check your figures. The questionable thing is in this time I just feel like with digital music, it's real hard to keep track of, you know what I mean, and you have to depend on the same, you have to depend on people to, you know, companies, and them looking for money. You know what I mean, them had to pay the client, them had to pay the workers and the staff. So the science in it is everybody had to eat, so them looking to keep track of the thing.
But check it out.
For
Look how the thing progress, right? We had cassettes. You buy a, or you have a LP, a 45, whatever. When you buy your original, be it a cassette, be it a web, if it's a record, you could dub it on a cassette. The only thing new people never started to do is press record that will have that accessibility. But when they bring CD, so nobody can tell me about CD.
Come on, go and see the like
Right?
rain.
We and early out, like when it was new. So now the music digital on laptop, they could have, if they know they sell $2 million in records or $1 million in cassettes, that is the cassette, the $1 million themselves, everybody go and get, a lot of people, more people get access to the music base, but people would dub the cassette now. And now it's the same thing. So, and who created the ability to dub the thing? And who created the accessibility now that everybody? So looking at it in that aspect, more was what you're saying. Because when you as an artist want to deprive the world of especially consciousness what the world does need at times, with your art form, with your contribution, or you tell yourself, well, you know, you need more money for that. You really kind of, you put in a station. You know, a doctor had to deal with the sick, a mechanic who would want a malfunctioning car. So if you're conscious to put out that music with that work, I feel you, man. Should be flexible enough to, yeah.
Yes, sir. Contribution. Yes, sir. Well, I think even in music, you had to pay your dues. So from the beginning, it is always, it's not where you can enter it with attitude or you can, that is what is made, that is what is kind of break the process, you know. So you have to understand where you are and contribute based on, you know what I mean, where you're trying to go, where you're trying to reach musically, you know what I mean. Science and music on the business side, is our next whole science, you know.
We only in participating in our business side, only know truly capitalist construct. In many areas, them same capitalists keep out and exploit now for the foundation, reggae man, and you know.
And get them better and have them, you know. So the end of the day is like not like normal, naturally.
With the same catalog and intellectual properties and all of this.
Selling in different parts of the world and man in a way of it and all kind of things. But yeah, and it's the way things will be happening now.
Well, now it's Control C and Control V. And you think with, you know what I mean?
Copy.
On our next thing. You know? So I don't know if they might have to kind of develop some other kind of economic model or something, because you're going to streams now, but a stream is like a fraction of a 1 US cent.
Sure.
One stream. And then according to the algorithm, they could govern that so that you don't get no set of streams, because them could govern your thing and put it on a back page.
Of course.
Yeah.
So why that's how they're going to search engine to find certain things.
Exactly. So this new kind of format and this new paradigm we're in, it kind of precarious because you don't know the inner workings of how that functioning to really truly reflect the appetite of the people or anything like that, you know. So sometimes you might have an excellent work and you're seeing about 50 views on that. You understand what I'm saying?
And it really reaching the masses because these people know who like what and who need what based on the same algorithm.
Right, but you will see some kind of folly or some kind
They'll
of
stifle
media
it
thing
deliberately.
fully per views. You know? So it might give you a false impression that dies with the people and then one and all too. And it mightn't necessarily be so, it might just be with the Babylon feeding them. You know?
But
There's a science with that. Yeah, I mean, it's not something I like, you know. It's not something I really. For me, the reward in music, after because you will hear 3 minutes of music, but it's hours, sometimes days, sometimes years I'm creating or producing music for that 3 minutes. For me, the reward in it is how much effort I put to bring it to where it is, and after I finish with that, you know, even behind them men who are wrong, the reward in it is just even me hearing it finished. You know what I mean? Because it's an idea, it come like a chair, you make a chair, you know what I mean? You get to relax in it.
Sure.
And the reward in it, you get to sit in the chair.
hammock in it.
You make a throne, you know what I mean? You get to relax with that. For me, the reward in it is me getting to sit in the chair, not me really selling the chair and getting our money for it. That is a reward still, but the real reward in it is me getting to sit in the chair. So making the music is feel like when I get to listen to it, especially with my close ones, my loved ones, and I think that is the reward in it for me, man, you know. What we do after, that is up to the people, that is up to, you know, sometimes we talking about it, that is up to the same construct, the same capitalist construct where basically feeding different things that people are based on, you know. When you're talking about, I think what they say is only 5% of the people who really subscribe to you just really get your posts and your stuff, you understand? So that is just because they want you to use the platform, they want you to use the thing more, so they make you have to put in more time, they want you to use the platform as much as possible, so for them to get you to keep on it, they will make you have to have, if you have 5 million, it's only 5% of that. So when you have 10 and you have 50, you understand how it does go?
Yeah.
So it's like a real gatekeeping going on, you know what I mean, with that construct. Like I say, it's not something I really too specially dig, you know? But time will tell, you know? It must change, just like how it come to this. It will go somewhere else again, you know?
People open at the front to live all
Again,
life.
you know what I mean? While we're here, creating, while we're making music, we're doing this, you know what I mean, on this paradigm, but yeah, just yeah, well, we go wrap it up. Cosmic reason again, a musical one, you know. Step away from producing and playing to just hold our conversation, you know what I mean, my Djed, sisters, love and respect.
Alright.
We'll be here again next Tuesday.